Let's see how many yo-yos I can string together in only 15 minutes. Before we get started, let me show you the postage stamp block that I finished the other day. It's a checkerboard quilt, and I was able to cut all the fabric and thread the needle on the sewing machine to sew these, and now I have it finished because I just couldn't help myself. And now I can put this away and move on to the next project. And what I have for you today is a whole big box of yo-yos. This whole box is full of yo-yos. And we're going to try to put some of these together. And in our 15 minutes today, we're going to string together some of these yo-yos. Put this aside over here. And what I'm basically attempting to do, I'll just grab one of these fabrics, and I'm going to sew a bunch of yo-yos around Let's see if the colors make sense to me. Don't want the two yellows right across from each other. Don't want the two pinks next to each other. Oops, this one. How about this? Like this. Too many greens together. Now this green across from each other. Actually, I think it's going to look fine no matter how it's arranged, but I think this is close enough. And of course you can't see it. Oh. There you go. I'm going to go ahead and sew these together. Usually the arranging of the blocks is part of the 15 minutes, but I want to show you some progress on putting them together. So I went ahead and threaded the needle ahead of time. And now the block is arranged, so let's get the countdown started. Ready, set, go. I've never done these before. This was quilt that I saw when I went to New Orleans. There was a museum that had these yo-yos, a yo-yo quilt, and I really liked it. It was all cream colored. It was all muslin yo-yos put together in this layout, and what I decided to do was to make it with 30s fabrics. So these are all 30s fabrics and reproductions. And now I gotta figure out how to get the thread inside through the yo-yos. This part was supposed to be the easy part. I just need to get the knot inside. See, this one seems like it might be an easy one to get through. There we go. Okay. I don't really know how to make sure that it's nicely rounded, but I think it'll be fine. This is needed, yeah, okay. And so basically I think I just need to whip stitch these together. Now my inclination is to do a lot of whip stitches, but I think that usually they just do a few. Like 3 or 4. That's secure enough. So you can kind of see the whip stitches a little bit, but not too much. And then I think I need to go the rest of the way through the entire side to get to the other side. I don't know how to get to the other side. I thought this would be easier to go through this than I thought. Okay, let's puff this out a little bit. Make sure I don't have any needles showing on this side. Oh. Okay. I think that looks okay. And then we're going to have to do this other side. Try to use a very small amount of thread here. One of the things that I've learned about this 15 minutes at a time is that, you know, they may feel like you need to rush everything to get as much done as possible in 15 minutes. But if you take your time, you can still do it right and have a project that you're happy with at the end. There'll be less unstitching if you think it through and figure it out. The first time you start a project, it takes a little bit longer because you have to figure out what you're going to do and come up with the process, get a system going, and then once you have the system going, then it gets faster over time. So what I've been doing this month, is to stitch. I like to stitch for 15 minutes every single day, and what I wanted to do with this series is to show you how much time it takes to do, is to show you what I'm doing with this series is stitching every single day like I normally do, but this time I want to show you on camera how much work I can get done. This one's a little wonky here. Show you how much work I can get done in 15 minutes. I'm going to need a cornerstone. Is this good for her? Yeah, I think I like that. And you'll find that even though 15 minutes worth is not going to get you very much work done, it's still going to give you a lot more than you might think, and it gives you a head start on, it does give you a chance to make progress every single day. It gives you especially if you take your time, you can get the satisfaction of having been able to do some quilting every day. It gives you the satisfaction of being able to work on a quilt every single day. And I want to go that direction now. Sometimes it takes 15 minutes to just set up the quilt. Other times it takes 15 minutes just to start sewing some blocks together or just cutting. But I have been able to finish complete quilts in only 15 minutes at a time when I only have 15 minutes. When you have a full-time job, it's hard to get a lot of time to sew, but if you're patient with yourself and not allow yourself just some time to work on it every day, then you manage to do it. And if you skip a day here and there, it's not that big a deal. You can make it up on the weekend, or you don't have to make it. The quilt will wait for you. You don't have to make up the time, but it is nice to be able to have some progress, and better for your blood pressure and better for you, your mental health, to be able to do something every day. There's a little needle showing here, so I want to try to get this out a little bit. There we go. Nope, I want to be right here. Ouch. I'm not used to talking when I'm sewing, so it's hard for me to think of things to say. But the museum that we went to in New Orleans, I went for work, and it was really nice because it was a medical museum, and they showed all sorts of contraptions on all sorts of medical things. You know, they had medical potions and birthing chair, things like that. And it was just a fun thing to do for an hour with my work friends. And I'm really happy I went because I got to see this quilt. Oops, I am going too far, and I need to go up to here. And we had a great time in the city. Even though most of the time we were working, we had some time to spend there. Okay, so this is going to go like this. And then from here, I'm going to sew this together. Don't pull too tight. So for this quilt, I did think about sewing it to this base first, like to sew the yo-yos to the base and then attach them together, but or at least go from here to here, like from here to here and then back up and then back down, back up. But I think that might get too confusing to try to do that on camera. So I think either way will be fine. Okay, so 3 of those. And then I need to run the thread all the way through. This is the fun part. Yep, just take your time. Handwork is especially good to do in 15 minutes because you don't even have to be home. You can do it when you're out and about. If you have someplace you have to wait, you can get some work done. And these yo-yos, if you take the whole box, you're not going to have a lot of space, but any kind of handwork usually doesn't take up a lot of room. You don't need your sewing machine, so that helps. I'm going to move this over a little bit. I'm using quilting thread because I think it'll be easier to thread and also it'll be easier to thread the needle and also be easy. I think it'll be easier to thread the needle and it'll be stronger thread. I've never made a yo-yo quilt before, so I'm kind of worried about the strength of it. But this one is a two-sided quilt. I guess I don't know if you can call it a quilt, but yo-yo coverlet. There's no batting, so I don't think it's considered a quilt exactly, but I think it's close enough to quilting to count in my book. My definition of quilting is pretty loose. And I'm going to go straight through, hopefully without seeing the needle on the other side. So a yellow on the other side. And then I'm going to need another cornerstone. Hopefully these are far enough apart. Is this okay? Yep. I'm just trying to make sure that there aren't any duplicates of things that I have in here already. Now I take this all the way through. Some of the thread is showing a little bit, but I think in the overall look, it won't matter that much. Hoping. It's more about the texture of the yo-yos, I think, than the little tiny stitches. And I think over time, as the quilt gets used, or as the coverlet gets used, the threads kind of get buried inside as the yo-yos get stretched farther apart from each other. Yeah, it's close enough to the other side. One of the things about working on handwork is very relaxing and calming, and it's hard to have energy to explain this, to talk loudly enough for the video, and yet still stay relaxed while I'm sewing. Puff this up so I can get my needle through. You know, and I'll go to this corner over here. Oh. Yeah, I think that's close enough. As long as I didn't get anything else. There's a little bit here that's showing through, but I think it's a close enough color, it'll be fine. Yep, okay. This is the same on both sides. I think most of them have different fabrics on each side so that it'll look different on each side. But this must have been one of the first ones that I made where I used the same fabric on both sides. Okay, so I'll sew these together. So this video is a series of videos that I'm doing this month as a challenge to show you how much work I can get done in 15 minutes. I'm doing a variety of different kinds of projects with cutting and piecing and pressing and trimming, all of that, sandwiching, putting blocks together, as many different types of projects as I can. But I wanted to, this one is one of my projects that I do want to make some more headway on. So I thought I would show it to you, and I think it's a really pretty project that's worth looking at. And when I'm finished, you'll have a nice reveal video that will show you a lot more of the progress pictures. Good. Why is it getting stuck? There we go. That looks good. And let me show you the other side while I'm here. Looks like my time is up, so I'll show you how it looks on the other side. If you do it this way, it'll look like this. As this goes around, we already used that one. So this one is showing a little thread, but I can try to tuck that in later. And here's some variety of the other fabric that I'm using. Okay, so how many did I do? I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I can attach 9 yo-yos in 15 minutes. And I hope you'll join me tomorrow where I'll be working on yet another project. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so that you won't miss tomorrow's 15 minutes. Have a great day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching.